featuring Takesha, and the track is What Am I to Do? And Bevan's planning on putting a night on in Brighton in October. He's still awaiting the venue for confirmation, but look out for that. And he's got 3 more singles from his Love Eternal EP, which are coming out in the following weeks, then a bigger project in the new year. You want to find him on Twitter. He is Bevan Music, and that's Bevan, B-E-V-A-N, and Music spelled with a Q at the end. And hello to Jenny, who tweeted through to BBC Introduced in the South to say, loving austerity on BBC Introduced in the South, hashtag anarcho-punk dance party. And hello to Fisher's Brewing Company. Anarcho-punk dance party is the longest hashtag I've heard of. You awesome goons, smash it. Really pleased to say Stu and Tommy, 2/3 of austerity, join us. I guess that hashtag anarcho-punk dance party pretty much sums it up.
Pretty much, yeah. That's like the phrase we've been going with, because it seems to get across what we're all about, yeah.
It's hard to describe it outside of that phrase, really.
Yeah, it's right, yes, yeah. Well, what I'm really loving is your post-punk vibe, because I heard your first track, Glass House, which is the 3rd one you're going to play. That was the first one I heard. And I just really like that kind of Gang of Four vibe to it. And then those guitars that like go... Rrr.
Oh, yes. No, your support has been really greatly appreciated, Melita, has to be said. And yeah, our influences come musically from a lot of the bands in that late 70s, early 80s
definitely.
period.
Like Gang of Four is a huge one for us, like outstanding band, and like we've nicked a lot of stuff from them.
XTC as well.
Influence rather than stealing. How about that? But you are a band, obviously, who know your political colours to the mask. I mean, in that last song, you know, your politics are unequivocally there.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to. I think it's pretty boring to write songs that aren't about anything, and there's so much going on in the world at the moment that it feels like you have to talk about it. And we do very much write songs with a political idea in mind.
It stuns me that there aren't more bands out there.
Definitely. Yeah.
Given the times we're living through, it's all we want to speak about, we want to talk about. That's what we do put out there.
Yeah. And the first track you played was The City Is Dead. That's your new single. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, it's coming out on the 8th of September, and there'll be a lovely music video out there for people to watch very soon. And we'll be doing, soon we'll be announcing tour dates around that release date as well. So, yeah, look out for that.
Now, something very exciting is coming up, because you're going to play in New York. How on earth did an anarcho-punk band from Brighton get picked to play in New York? What's all that about?
We don't really know. I think someone's made a mistake there. But no, we've been offered to play at Mondo, New York. We're playing at Pianos, which looks like a really cool venue. And it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Friday, 6th of October.
That's the one, yeah.
So this is a whole music festival?
Yeah, it's kind of a conference showcase, a bit like South by Southwest, and it's going to be its 2nd year, Mondo NYC, and for some reason they've invited us over to play at Pianos.
They'll discover their mistake when you get there, won't they?
Yeah. Oh yes, their noisy mistake that they made. But we're really, really excited about that, really grateful for
bunch of noisy gobby Englishmen and ruin their party.
That's their favourite kind, right?
No, you're so old school, you do a fanzine and cassettes.
Yes.
What made you decide to do that?
It's kind of a natural. It wasn't like we decided we should do zines. What should they be about? It was a natural extension of what we're about as a band and as people. We wear our politics on our sleeve and wanted to find ways of expressing that. And music's one way, and our scribblings and our zines are another.
It's very hard to get over like a nuanced political point in a 3-minute punk rock song. So there's always like ways that we would like to expand upon the themes in the songs. And the zine just seemed like a logical way of doing that. So we just started throwing them out. We print them up for free and we just hand them out for free at our gigs.
And the cassettes are pretty much just to be difficult.
Terrific, right. So tell us about the 3 tracks you played tonight.
The City Is Dead, next single.
Yep.
All about, I guess, the cultural wastelands our cities are becoming. Young, creative types finding it harder and harder to put events on, to live in the city. So that's where that one's coming from, and having just come from London, moved down here, on the forefront of that. White Men.
White Men is basically, it's about the global rise of the far right and how there's a lot of very dodgy stuff going on that isn't being talked about, and then and that they should be labelled as they are, the far right. These people are fascists, and we should confront them in music, in media, and on the streets, whatever. And then the second verse, it's sort of it's like an admission of our own privilege as middle-class white dudes that live in England.
And that tune today, that performance is dedicated to anyone in Charlottesville yesterday who is caught up in the what is essentially a white power march that went on there last night.
It looks pretty messy, doesn't it, on the news? Yeah.
So all those are stuff, that's for you.
Yeah, and Glasshouse, your 3rd track. which has the longest outro ever. I love your outro because it goes on forever.
Well, Glasshouse was one of the first songs we ever wrote, and the lyrics, they ended up being about sort of corporate and governmental surveillance and digital security, things like this. But what actually sort of sparked it was that I had a psychotic episode, and I genuinely thought that I was being tapped, and I thought I was under sort of surveillance. And that's where some of the lyrics came from, the sort of genesis of the idea. And then we thought, actually, paranoia is kind of a logical place to be when you are under surveillance most of the time.
So, pretty deep stuff going on there. Right, okay. Live dates. What's coming up locally around Sussex and Surrey?
Well, soon there's going to be, we're looking to do a date in Brighton, in London and Portsmouth all around the 8th of September when the single comes out. And then the big trip to New York on Friday the 6th of October.
Well, good luck with that, Austerity. Thank you very much for joining us. Stu and Tommy, 2/3 of Austerity. Looking forward to hearing Glasshouse in a few minutes' time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. And South. Cheers. And before we hear from Austerity, here's a band out of Woking. I love the way this twists and turns. This is Zeddy Forder and the track is Dark Mook.